A bunch of bicycles were stolen overnight.
In fact, they have a name for it in school. They call it shopping.
Yeah.
Shop.
Yeah.
Kids call it shop.
They say,
Yeah, they're just going around pulling car doors and taking whatever they want out of the car.
What they do is they go and take it, and then that'll be their presents to their friends or whatever, or they'll take it to a pawn shop in another jurisdiction.
Or they'll sell it to other kids. It's a money market.
So crimereports.com then is a great sort of overview, but you kind of gave some caveats that just wouldn't be in there. And
Yeah,
if you
those
wanted
three are the only ones aren't in there.
And would those be in the citizens report?
No.
Okay, so those just sort of fall through the cracks because of the nature of the crime. Not fall through the cracks, but because of the nature of the crime, they're reported differently.
If it's a public danger, the information will be put out. Once again, domestics, no real public danger.
Right.
Narcotics event, no real public
Right.
danger. A rape or a sexual assault, if it appears to be completely random stranger-based event,
Right.
then we're going to do a press release.
Okay.
If you sign up for crime reports, you'll get that press release.
Okay.
Or citizen alerts.
Okay.
You'll get that press release.
Okay.
You'll get anything that our agency puts out
Okay.
through
That
citizen
horrible
alerts.
thing that happened in Lansdowne to that woman, was that gang related?
I'm sorry, one more time?
The horrible attack on that husband and wife in Lansdowne?
It's a random act,
That was a random act?
completely random act.
Thank you. Was that gang related or no?
The participants were gang members, but the investigation never revealed any gang tie to it. Their intent was to rob for money. And they had been out all night long and were going through Lansdowne and happened upon the couple on their morning walk.
What did they think they were going to rob from a job?
I never said criminals were smart.
Oh.
And if I've learned anything in this job, they're criminals because they're not in the show.
Yeah, too. Like, weren't they from like
Middleburg.
Yeah, two were from Middleburg, one was from Herndon, one was
Right,
from Sterling.
right.
But they are all part of a same very broad family in this area.
Oh.
Not family members, but family in the area. So they were known to each other. They weren't random people that just picked up people in the street and put them in the van and decided to go out and commit some crime for the day.
And it really was probably one of the most horrific assaults, attacks, whatever you want to call it, in Loudon that I can
Oh yeah,
remember.
absolutely.
And my question about that is, I remember that there were community meetings afterwards because the people in that community were outraged.
Oh, they went 0 to 60 on it. Yeah.
And it was as if this doesn't happen here.
Oh,
Well, this is a
absolutely.
perfect example of probably the worst crime in Loudoun County happened right here.
Well, there's a story about that. I gotta tell my story. See, before that happened, I kind of feel bad about it, but they had a neighborhood watch there. The neighborhood watch, they were so complacent that the neighborhood watch stopped being active. They would not show up to anything, they would not do anything. In fact, I actually gave that to Deputy Spurlock that weekend before and said, they're not calling me, if they don't respond to you, we'll go and take all the signs. That weekend is when it happened, and I believe within a couple hours he was getting calls from them saying they wanted to restart it.
And then we had the community meeting where we had like 1,300 people show up at.
But it
Yes,
took,
that's
at
the one.
Xerox.
and the sad thing is, it took that happening to actually get a response from the community to get interest in their own community, actually.
And we see that response, that's a classic response for our region. Round Hill, 2 weekends ago, 4 houses burglarized, all while they're occupied, all in the early morning hours of a Saturday morning. Almost completely unheard of. Individuals broke into the house, stole money out of wallets and stuff, and then fled the house. Practically unheard of. Okay? For 2 years, I've been trying to institute neighborhood watching around Hill and can't get people to show up for meetings.
And how did those people get in the house?
They came in through the unlocked doors,
Unlocked.
unlocked rear doors.
West
So it's a Saturday morning and you might be out and
West-
get mail.
Once
Oh no,
you
this
pass-
was between 4 a.m. and 6 a.m.
Once you
Saturday
pass
morning.
15,
And every
West-
residence was occupied.
Yeah, once you,
Or asleep in bed.
Good luck getting shot.
once you pass 15 going west, that's what I've learned, is the people tell me, we live out here so we don't have to lock the doors. And Middleburg was horrible because they were having, 2 years ago, even in the businesses, they were having rashes of burglaries to the businesses. And that's what I was told when I was doing business assessments for them. We live here so we don't have to lock the doors.
You can move again.
And that's what we tell them. Crime doesn't follow these boundaries. You know, our joke with the community is, as community members and us as law enforcement, our job is to push crime somewhere else. Okay? the joke that we tell citizens is we want to push it into somebody else's neighborhood.
So PJ County's mad at you.
Yeah, or we want to push it across the river, or back into Herndon, or back into Prince William, or push it
Of course,
west.
they're pushing too, so you have like.
Well, that's what I tell them, we gotta keep them moving. Okay, if we don't keep them moving, we get this unproportionate number of criminals here. So we have to keep that balance going. We run a lot of different programs. Our largest program is Neighborhood Watch. We have 104 neighborhood watches across the county that 2 of us manage. And we stay very, very busy. Okay, I was actually just at Parkview High School last night teaching a class on internet safety for parents that kind of came about through our Neighborhood Watch. We do a lot of outreach through that program. We do a lot of teaching. We have about 20 classes that we teach through Neighborhood Watch, everything from burglary prevention, internet safety for parents, all the way down to how to plan a safe vacation. Pretty much if there's been a topic that's come up, we'll research it, and based on our experience and our expertise, we'll write a class with it. Yeah, the vacation safety one was a request that came from Lansdowne. They said, well, you know, people get robbed on vacations, but you never see anything about how to plan that. And I'm like, that's a good point. So we wrote a class. And think about it.
You mean your house that you leave? being
No,
robbed?
planning the actual act of going on vacation. Are you going on vacation this year?
I hope so.
Where do you think you might go?
Ocean City,
Okay. How many times have you been to Ocean City before?
a lot. I have a house there.
Okay. Do you ever check to see if any crimes changed around your house before you go? Has anything happened in that neighborhood since you've been gone since last summer? Is there anything unusual that might be going on that week while you might be there? Is it bike week? Is there some kind of rally? Is there any political things that are going on in the community that might affect your vacation?
In Ocean City, you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have a lot going on there.
Yeah. But do you know what's going on before you pack everything up and take your family and kids to someplace and maybe put them in harm's way? A lot of people travel overseas and they have no idea what they have rights to and access to if something happens to them while they're in a foreign country. So we talk about what the Department of State can do for you. You know, what resources are available? What if you lose your passport? What if you get robbed and you have no money? We talk about all that pre-planning stuff and the educational stuff so that you can go on vacation with some sense of knowing what to do if something bad happens.
How
If
do you
don't
get
have
the training?
We did research with the Department of State, and then we researched with travel agencies and stuff like that to build the program.
I mean, how do we get the training? How do we, when is it offered? Is it online?
We do it on an online calendar. There's a calendar on the Sheriff's Office website, and you can see what we're teaching.
Okay, under training or?
There's just a master calendar on the website.
Under what now, the
The
sheriff's?
Loudoun County Sheriff's Office website. If you go to the county's website and then go to the Sheriff's Office portion, if you go to
www.loudoun.gov/sheriff.
and then that role of classes changes all the time as people ask us about new things
Where are the classes held?
all over the county.
Okay.
Usually if a particular community, like the one last night was held at Parkview because it was actually sponsored by Parkview High School. So it was held there. The last class I did an internet safety class for parents at Roundhill Elementary School, requested by their principal. We did a burglary prevention class. You just did one down in South Riding, didn't you?
I do lots now.
Yeah, South Riding
We did
HOA.
a scams one. I did that one at a nursing home, like a assisted living
Yeah,
facility.
the identity
That's
theft.
big.
We have tons of classes that we put out there for the
Gee,
public.
I never knew.
If we offered classes here for like that vacation type thing for our customers, clients and whatever, do you want to only do it for community? I mean, you're very busy.
Do it however you
obviously.
want to do it. If you have the room, we'll bring the toys.
So we could invite our clients. That'd be a good idea.
If you have a place for us to meet, I mean, out west, the biggest problem we're into is the lack of places to meet. I've done these classes in people's basements. They invite over, they have a wine and cheese party, they all drink, I teach.
And then you're like,
And then they stand outside.
Susie, you're like,
How many of you guys know where Wheatland Estates is?
I could do that.
Out in Lovettsville. Wheatland Estates, they don't have a pool, they're a real nice community, they're very nice people. They don't have a pool, they don't have a pool house, they don't have any kind of community structure or anything. They have neighborhood watch. So my coordinator, she has this huge finished basement, huge entertainment area. So she invites everybody over, everybody brings something to eat, and they all put it on her big covered pool table, and they all eat from their little plates, and we teach a class in her basement with like 25 people from the community. We will take them however we can get them.
You know, there's a building in Purcellville next to Magnolia's that the town of Purcellville will let you use, I'm sure.
Yeah, the problem we run into is people don't like to go very far.
Right.
You want to stay close.
They want to stay close,
Yeah.
especially if they're wine tipping.
Yeah.
We usually tell them,
Walk.
yeah, I've got to pack my stuff. I know you only have to get to your house. Don't do anything between here and your house. They're usually really good about it because they understand that they're putting me in a situation by having alcohol, that type of thing.
Can I ask you, not to get back to this, but I've been curious, since the crime in Lansdowne, you had that huge, or there were so many people that they had to have a couple of meetings. And it was very much, in my opinion, pointing the finger wherever the finger could point to.
Sure.
Why did they come here and what are you going to do? And I really think that probably just like in Belmont, just like anywhere else in River Creek and whatever, it doesn't make any difference. I mean, if you ever use an example of crime knows no boundaries, that's it. So, saying that, what are the things that people can do to be aware of their surroundings, I guess, and protect their home? I mean, to me, it's lock your car, lock your house.
It's a good
You know,
start. The
you
biggest
get a
part is
dog.
awareness. Know what kind of crime is going on in your community. We preach constantly to communities. No community anywhere in Loudon has a grocery store within their community. All of your schools aren't located there. Your kids are going to travel. You're going to travel. Unless you work from home and you order your groceries and deliver them to your door, you have to leave your residence. If you don't know what kind of crime is going on around you, you're going to get victimized. Statistically, you're going to get victimized.
But that couple, for instance, besides jogging maybe in the kind of in the early morning, they couldn't really do anything with that.
No. It's a completely
That
random
was-
act, and those types of events do happen. But, on the other side of that, in the post-investigation stage of that event, we realized that 2 people within that community had seen that van trolling through the neighborhood that morning and didn't call it in as suspicious. Because they assumed that they were there for a legitimate reason. Even though they had never seen the van, even though they saw it slowly driving through neighborhoods, they didn't feel threatened by its presence. Because that kind of thing wouldn't happen here.
Well, and then you're like.
But I feel bad about.
Oh, hold on. What was that?
You might turn someone in that didn't really
What's wrong with
commit
that?
any crime.
All we're going to do is stop them, have a brief conversation with them, legitimize their presence, and send them on their way. Never ever make the assumption that what you do is wrong if you're calling something in that stands out as unusual to you.
What number do you call in for that?
703-777-1021.
1021?
That's part of that apathy that we talk about. People are like, well, what if I'm wrong? So what? What if you're wrong? Okay? Like I said, a deputy's going to stop them, have a brief conversation with them. Someone reported your vehicle suspicious. Can I see your identification? Okay? We place them in a particular location. We ask for an explanation for their presence. If they're like, oh, well, I'm the Washington Post guy, just delivering papers. Oh, okay, no problem. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
But these guys you could have said you don't belong here. I mean, like you.
We
wouldn't
could,
do
well,
it.
we
Or
can't
they
tell
were
they don't
scared
belong
of-
there.
It was scared them enough to go.
Exactly, because as soon as we document 4 guys driving around in a van that they can't explain why they're cruising Lansdowne
6 in the morning.
6 a.m. in the morning, why we probably don't have anything further to go with them, I'm pretty sure they're not going to drive around the corner and jump out of the car and grab 2 people.
And you also got to think about if it was, say they did do that and they did say, oh, a deputy showed up. Now they know that community, if they're driving around through there, is watching them, so they're going to try to avoid that because they don't want us to be around them.
You create what we call a risk environment. Criminals come in, they don't like being at risk. They want to come in and be unnoticed. They want to go unchallenged. If they come in and out of the community enough times unchallenged, they're going to commit a crime in that community. It's just a matter of time.
Now, I remember when that happened, a lot of people were, online talking, before they were arrested, everybody was really terrified. But down on the creek, like right beneath there, people were saying, people who lived on that side, there were so many people who were living down by the creek and people were coming up and going into their houses. What are you finding with that area?
There were some homeless people that were living down along the trail. There's actually an established trail that runs along the creek. What we did is we did a project with the community to reclaim that area. We went down and painted over all the graffiti. We did a huge community cleanup down there. We gave the community